Welcome to Brainstorm9000.
You got a brain? Your brain wants to listen to this podcast.
So open your brain.
Okay, so yes, we are here today, brains of the internet, to analyze a different part of, the science of your brain and, the facts we have. Because we have the DSM, but we also have, online horoscopes, because they are equal experts to psychiatrists, because they go to years of school and, they're completely qualified to tell me about my brain health.
Indeed.
So today I want to just get real messy. I'm a fake expert about astrology, but I got me a fake crystal ball right here. I'm Miss Cleo, here to tell you guys about your future and your destinies and all these other things. And
my name is Dr. Schultz, and we call you Hermes, and right across from me is Ashley.
Hello.
That's actually a real name. It's a real
That is.
person.
That's me, yes.
So you are an expert in astrology all of a
The
sudden?
only real person.
Yes, the only real one here.
The real
Crazy.
Right.
here we're imagining.
So you are an expert?
I am, yes.
So what is your
Basic.
rising sign?
My rising, I think I'm a Leo. Yeah, I'm a Leo
Rising.
rising.
Really?
Yeah,
Rising.
yeah.
And what's your sun sign, birth sign?
Scorpio.
Scorpio. So you are Leo in Scorpio. And I'm Leo in Libra. And do you know what your signs are?
Leo and Cancer. I'm
But-
a Cancer rising.
Okay. So it's an
It's
interesting...
emotionally messy people.
So
Yeah. Pretty much.
maybe right off the bat, we need to explain to people why we are talking about astrology and what all this terminology means. So why are we talking about astrology? It was your idea, Ashley.
Because it's fun and entertaining, and people like to hear about their horoscopes and what other people think about it and if it matches, because it's just fun.
So it helps them,
Yes.
or no?
I think it does, just for entertainment purposes.
So it's not real.
No. I mean, it depends.
On what?
What do you think, Dr. Schultz? Do you think
Depends
it's
if it's
real? Depends on what you believe.
What about you, Hermes?
yeah, I mean,
Hermes.
it's as real as you want it to be. Like, I feel like it's your outlook on life. Like, if
Exactly.
you don't have psychiatry in your DSM,
Right.
then yeah, like if she tells me she's a Cancer rising, then I know she's trouble off rip. You know what I mean? It's like, it's that kind of conclusion I could draw because it's like the box I choose to put her in.
And this is true.
But astrology is so complicated.
Cancer rising is trouble?
Trouble.
Why?
It's like Cancer is a very like emotional sign. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like I feel like
But it's a
Scorpio could be
rising
an
sign.
emotionally popping water sign. Like we're just popping people. Everybody says we popping. Whereas like
Yeah, but
Cancer
you
is
are
a-
mixing up two different things. So I need to clear up your minds, our listeners.
Yeah.
Nice listeners. So let's talk about what is a birth sign and what is a rising sign. Do you want me to clear this for you?
I'm an expert, so but you can tell the expert.
So
over
you
here.
tell me what it means.
I believe the rising sign is like how you're supposed to relate with other people in terms of like your actual like outward presence and making like social connections.
But
and
why is
stuff.
it called rising?
Oh, something about the stars and stuff.
I think
No.
it's like what you present to the world, like it's like your personality almost.
But why is it called the rising sign?
I don't know.
Asking you again?
I guess.
He's gonna give us the
Yeah.
stoic
And
information.
again.
Okay, so we came
Why
up
is
short
it
on
called
this
the
Friday.
rising?
We missed
Darn
this in
it.
expert school.
Right.
I missed that
Alright.
day. Yeah. Go ahead, fill me in though. I know.
So simple idea. So our planet goes around the sun, and every month it enters a new sign of the zodiac. And that's what we call your birth sign. So your birth sign is Leo, yours is Scorpio. Poor you, I feel for you. And mine is, just kidding,
Dang.
JK.
Damn,
And mine is Libra. Okay? But also, the Earth rotates around itself. And every 2 hours, above the horizon, a new sign rises. So that's why it's called a rising sign. So you can be born, let's say, August 8th, and it makes you a Leo. But when we look, but you were born, let's say, at 1 a.m., and I'm just going to make it up because there are tables, but I didn't look them up. And above the horizon, there is Cancer. So you are Cancer rising sign in Leo. You were born somewhere, let's pretend in November, it doesn't matter, just to make it easy on people. So then
Most
your birth sign is
where you were around
yeah,
the
yeah. So your
sun,
birth
it's
sign is Scorpio.
Yeah.
And then when people looked above the horizon, your rising sign was
Leo.
I was born somewhere in October, right? And my birth sign was Libra, which, by the way, is the only mechanical device in the entire zodiac. Think about it. Everybody else is either a human or an animal or a mixture.
She had to flex on us one
And
time.
then my
He's
rising
special.
sign,
Okay.
What does it
my
mean?
rising sun also was a Leo. So, people actually perceive us mostly by characteristics of the rising sign. So people see in you Leo, in me Leo, and in her Cancer. They don't see it right away that she's actually a Leo. I'm talking about non-experts. Like, I'm not an expert. I know a lot of stuff about astrology, and I'll be happy to explain to you how come. But
Me too. I'm also an expert. You're just talking to
I'm not
another
saying I'm an
expert.
expert, but
cool.
I understand it.
I didn't say you're not an expert.
Right. So, but what do you think? Like, does astrology really work? Do planets affect us?
I don't feel like it's ever been accurate for me, so nah.
Right.
That's just me.
It's never been accurate for you from reading horoscopes in the newspaper.
Yeah. Or
Okay.
even like about my personality, what it's supposed to be like. I don't feel like
But
it
has
matches.
anybody ever done your astrological chart?
No. I've done it online though. Yeah.
We'll talk about it. You?
I feel like when it comes to horoscopes, maybe not. Horoscopes can be just really off, and I'm just like, I don't really see any validity in this.
Right.
But the dispositions that you're supposed to have as like being in a sign, I feel like are so vague and could be applied to anybody.
Truth.
That I do see myself in it, but I feel like I could see myself in
Well,
anything.
if I'll run by you the essences, you'll see that they're very different, which I'm very willing to do. So I'll start from saying the following. So I know astrology for actually a very unusual reason. I studied yoga most of my life, and for many years with a grandmaster in Moscow. And at some point, he told us that just as a part of our spiritual development, it would be nice for us to study astrology and send us to a particular teacher who is a famous astrologer now in Russia and was at the time. And I went for probably half a year to a year, met one of my best friends there, whose name is Boris, a very unusual name for who is a very, very famous prominent astrologist in Russia. So I got all the basic information, and because him and I have a lot in common, and we talk very frequently, and I read all his books, and then I read some other books, I'm fluent, like I understand it, but I do not use it in my practice. I never used it in the practice of psychiatry, and I know homeopathy pretty well. It's not helpful there also. If I knew astrology very well in my 20s, it would be very helpful to meet people.
Number one icebreaker. You know the game already.
It's not an icebreaker. It puts
I could go back in time.
It puts people on fire. But guess what? I did know astrology at that time.
It's never too late, bro.
No, but I
You
knew
just
astrology.
hit the bar.
But I did.
You know what I'm saying?
Astrology.
Present day,
Right.
you looking beautiful.
But I still know.
right now.
still
Yeah,
know.
exactly.
Right.
Don't let it hold you back. You don't need to go back to your 20s.
So, but let me ask you. It's hard for me to believe, as being a time machine as I am at my young 63 and 7 months old, that your generation, the millennials, like astrology. Do you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think people still love astrology just as much as before.
For what?
I think it's more
For
now.
entertainment. Literally, purely, it's just fun.
So, do you know of any famous people who were astrologers themselves?
No.
Who are famous astrologers? Nah.
No, famous people who you don't suspect were astrologers.
Oh.
Would you like me to name a few? But you'll need to correct my pronunciation.
Okay.
Okay. So Isaac Newton was a famous astrologer, and actually was once asked by
I did not know that.
one of the journalists or writers, like, how come such an intelligent man like you, a physicist, believes in this BS astrology? And he said, because between you and me, there is a big difference. I'm an astrologer, and you don't know anything about astrology. How do you call him? Pythagoras or Pythagoras? The theorem?
Pythagoras.
Pythagoras was an astrologer. He actually discovered this thing to make his calculations easier. Copernicus was an astrologer. J.P. Morgan, the first billionaire in the world, used to say, astrology is not for millionaires, it's for billionaires. He wasn't an astrologer himself, but he used astrology all the time. Of course, you know about Ronald Reagan and his wife. They used astrology all the time. Ronald Reagan actually fired one of his first astrologers because she predicted that he's going to lose in the first election. He participated and he did lose in the first one. And then he won in the second, but he got pissed with that astrologer who was accurate.
Petty.
So he fired the astrologer. Right
Speaking facts.
For correct. Yes. So,
That's rough.
yeah,
so
it is.
known to us and unknown and unbeknown to us, a lot of pretty smart people used to use astrologers. Of course, needless to say that every single king and shah and whoever you can come up with had an astrologer. There are famous stories about, for example, King David, whose astrologer predicted that his daughter is going to marry a poor person. So he got pissed and sent the daughter on a remote island, and she lived in a castle without any people around. And one day, a good-looking poor guy was walking by the ocean, and it was cold outside. And he saw an empty carcass of a bull who was like killed and died, and it was warm, so he went to sleep. A huge bird came, picked up the carcass to bring to its family. The family lived in the nest on the island, and the rest is history. That's how he met David's daughter, right? There are many stories.
Wow,
There are many stories like that.
He slept with the
in
bull
carcass. I mean,
carcass.
this is
And the
a
bird.
story, okay? The huge bird.
So I need to get an astrologist
No.
ASAP,
So,
because that sounds poppin'. I need that.
so-
too.
No.
But do you think planets affect us? No, just your opinion. It's not a trick question,
Maybe.
right?
I feel like I can see
Like
Neil
directly
deGrasse
affect us.
Tyson, like you know the science guy, like Neil deGrasse Tyson. I forgot
No.
what he's like an
I know only one
astrophysicist.
I was
Tyson,
about
Mike
to say
Tyson.
Bill Nye.
No, yeah, he's like an astrophysicist. He's black. He's from the Bronx, and he like
Right.
we'll talk about science a lot and stuff. And I feel like he talks about astrophysics and like the theory of relativity
Right.
and like all these big things and how everything in the universe is interconnected. So I feel like I can buy something as lofty as like if his voice was saying it, like you know where the stars are in the sky,
Yeah,
like when you're
yeah.
born,
Right.
have an effect on like have this much pattern effect on your personality. But like in life, I feel like you could see a pattern in anything. Like you'd be like,
This
oh,
is so true.
every third person in
I'm
McDonald's
so that
orders
person.
like a
Everything
Big
means
Mac, yeah.
something. That's
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
Okay. So you find what you look for. That's what you're
Yes,
saying.
that's
Exactly.
so true.
So
Especially
your
if you're
opinion
born
is that
enough.
that planets don't affect us?
I guess not.
Okay.
It does if you believe it does.
So I can tell you what is the position, official, in quotes, position of astrology. So the official position of astrology is that planets don't affect us at all. That planets are the signs. It's basically like if you understand astrology, in front of you, you have pretty much a schedule. Like, for example, I want to go, let's say that we decided that tomorrow we are flying to Italy to record our next episode. And then...
Are we flying to
I
Italy?
know, right?
And then
You just worked this up like that.
and then Ashley says, no, Ashley can't fly because she needs to babysit it. So Ashley,
I'm always babysitting.
so Ashley says,
We'll send you a postcard.
so Ashley
Stop.
says, look, I'm busy. I work at Dr. Schultz's office, and the only time I can fly is at 10 p.m. and I can go only from Kennedy Airport, and it has to be on Wednesday.
High
We
maintenance.
say okay, and then we go online, open the schedule. No flight is available.
Dang.
So what astrology does, it to people who want to and understand, shows what are your personal characteristics, whether or not you can psychologically match, kind of like click with other people. Like, look at us. You and I have Leo as rising, and her Leo is her birth sign. So of course we feel comfortable around each other because Leo is very prominent. You understand? So that's what they would tell you.
You're a Cancer, like sun sign too.
Yeah.
Am I Cancer?
So
I'm a Leo.
her rising Cancer
Yeah.
is a
Her
water
rising
sign,
Cancer.
and your Scorpio is a water sign. So also you feel comfortable with each other. So she has water fire combination. You have water fire combination. So I feel like Miss Cleo now.
What are you?
Right.
What are you?
I'm rising Leo in Libra.
Yeah.
So Leo is
What is Libra? Like, what's their element?
the element is air. So it constantly feeds my fire.
Yeah.
Right. So, but seriously speaking, though, so they say that no, planets don't affect us, but if you understand the schedule, right? So then it's easier for you. And you also can understand your personal characteristics. Certainly certain things that I know about astrology are extremely scary, and I can actually in some cases make people pretty scared of me, and I'll give you a couple of examples from
I have an
wanna be
example
scared.
myself.
No.
You do?
From reading.
I want an example.
No, from reading. I'll give you an example. But before that, I would like to tell you that speaking the language of Dr. Tyson, when you are born in a particular spot in the universe of space and time, like where you are at the moment of your birth, might be meaningful. Yes, we understand now that besides like this and this, we also have atoms, and they're made out of energy, and we have quantum physics and quantum mechanics, and it becomes very complicated, right? But we are used to dismissing astrology as something very old and kind of like we have computers now. Maybe it's too much of an extreme. Also going and doing everything, every single thing, after you calculate everything, makes you basically a robot, right? Because like you have no freedom. But certain things are scary. For example, I can tell you that it's very well known that if in the fourth house somebody has Saturn, like located in the fourth house, it's just a sector of your chart, very difficult, sometimes abusive childhood. And I had more than one case when I said it to someone and scared them enormously.
Because they had
Because
Saturn in the fourth house?
because they had very abusive, or for example, again, only according to what astrology tells you, so you don't need to believe, right? If a woman has her moon in Capricorn, which is a sign ruled by Saturn, difficulties in relationships with men. So that is very scary.
What's up with Saturn, man?
Right.
Saturn's tricky, right?
So
Hey, Saturn,
Saturn,
not trying to get cooked.
so I'll break it down for you. So again, it makes it very scary because I've had cases in my life, and I'm not an astrologer. Like I don't do astrology for a living, right? But we would be like chatting with somebody, let's say my friends, and all of a sudden they say, Schultz, he's this crazy psychiatrist. Like, Schultz, are you crazy? And I'll tell them, of course. Like, for example, let's do your chart. We have a very good compatibility. Like if you come to think about it, you have as your rising sign Cancer, and you are Leo, your birth sign. I have a rising sign Leo, and you have a rising sign Leo, right?
We pop in.
So we have a pretty good connection. So when you look at astrology, you can see whether people potentially have a very good connection or not. And there are a lot of good things that you can tell about people. Like, for example, house number 10, which is another sector of the chart, which is right on top, is responsible for career. And if somebody has the sun there, the sun, so
in house 10.
So they are career oriented. And if somebody has, for example, their sun in sector 2, house number 2, which is responsible for money, probably they are going to have quite a bit of money, especially, and if they have Jupiter there, which signifies expansion, right? Then there would be a lot of money there. Like, for example, in my chart, which is very accurate because of my friendship with a famous astrologer, I have Jupiter. So I have rising, meaning in the first house. That's how people perceive us. I have rising Leo and Jupiter. So I'm big. I talk a lot. I'm big. I can talk in front of large audiences, and I bring luck. Also, a
And
lot
you
of-
roar sometimes. You smell me? Like a Leo, like a lion. So sometimes
Right.
you gotta, hit a growl on him.
Yes.
Drop the
No,
tongue.
Leo. So let me break down to you, if you are interested, the main characteristics of all the signs, so you don't get lost. Okay. This is fun or no?
Yes.
No, yeah.
Okay. So let's first imagine
Tell us. Tell us.
that the zodiac circle reflects our lifespan from the moment we are born to the moment we die. So then Aries, the first sign, is the most energetic. Think about a baby. Most direct and less sophisticated, right? But very, very energetic. So a lot of people who changed the world actually were Aries. The next sign is Taurus. So Aries is ruled by Mars. So war, but kind of in a simple, very direct way, like war. There's no sophistication there. But
It's not
yes,
popping war. It's
yeah,
not
but-
like
but-
modern warfare. And
No,
you got,
not like modern. It's
Okay,
like
okay.
it's like you take out your sword and you start swinging,
Oh, okay.
or
So
like
old
Mike
school.
Tyson, you start boxing.
Oh, that's wash, bro.
Oh,
Like, that
you know.
person's dying in Fortnite. Like if you ain't got no guns, bro. Yeah, no. Okay.
So, but a lot of energy. Okay, Taurus, ruled by Venus, sophistication. Right. So
Taurus out
so
here, Taurus moon,
they have sense of beauty, appreciation. But because it's the second sign only, right? Also kind of naive and kind of simplistic, like things. Like for example, if you want to piss off, like really make angry, a Taurus, while they are looking away, just pick up this cup and put it here. Will piss them off. Like you can't touch it.
I mean, like, why you gotta move the cup
Right.
for?
They also,
I'm saying, like, I
they
got
also
the
are
Taurus
kind
in me,
of
bro.
stubborn. The next sign of the zodiac is, you know which one?
No.
The twins.
Oh, Gemini.
Gemini.
My
Geminis are
mom's
crazy.
a Gemini.
Right, so-
my mom's
so-
my favorite person.
Really?
So,
Yes.
What's my
so
best
people
friends are
will tell
Gemini.
you, Gemini, they have two faces, but the main issue,
Two crazy
the main
faces.
description of the Gemini is this. So first of all, it's an air sign, so intellect. They use intellect, think
She's
a
a very
lot,
smart
right?
woman.
And for them, life is like a movie. Like if you are a Gemini, you could be kissing your loved one and thinking, well, maybe we need to fix those tiles, or maybe we need to buy a new car. Like you are removed from the reality, right? You are more a thinker, a connector than like feelings, right? The next sign is Cancer, exactly the opposite, water, and ruled by
Messiness.
by the moon.
Messy
So
ass
Gemini is ruled by Mercury, so it would be like Hermes,
Yeah, me.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
I got you.
it's ruled by Mercury, connections, communication, but all kind of superficial, no big deal. Doesn't take deep to the heart. Cancer is a totally different story. Very moody, moon waxes and wanes, and they also and
Moody. Moody
very,
was the
very,
word, yeah.
very, very, very emotional. The next sign is Leo. So it's a higher octave. Like if you play music, like you understand that it's a high. So it's now a repeat of what happened before. So Aries was kind of simplistic. This guy is also ruled by the sun, right? So fire. And the main characteristic is needs to be on a pedestal. You constantly need to pay attention. Tell them how much you love them.
We're the
how
Leo
much-
risings, right? Yeah, okay.
how much you appreciate them. Right.
That sounds maybe familiar. I don't know. It's my life.
Okay. The next sign is Virgo, right? The main characteristic is high responsibility, a sense of duty. Make very good nurses, very good wives, very good husbands. People who need to carry responsibility. Nice to hire a person like that. But there are other aspects that we are not going to discuss in this podcast because it's too much. Okay. The next sign up is Libra,
Libra.
my sign. Air, right? So again, brainy and also a mechanical device. ruled by the Venus. So you remember Taurus was ruled by Venus. So this one is ruled by Venus, but on a higher octave. They are basically like sitting like that. So good compatibility with Tauruses, but higher level of sophistication, much higher. Good politicians.
They know how to bridge things together,
Yeah,
bro.
but if you want to really upset them, the main issue for them is fair unfair and partnership. So if you really want to piss off a Libra, just do something that is against their expectations from you as a partner, and they're going to be pissed off. Now we are coming to one of the most interesting signs of the zodiac, right?
Most poppin'.
Scorpio.
Most poppin'. Yeah.
Scorpio, I used to say that Scorpio is the only animal on earth that bites itself to death. It turns out there are others, but Scorpio bites itself to death. So you guys can overanalyze things and dig too deep, and you are ruled by Pluto, which is one of the deepest planets. But
Accurate.
you are survivors.
Yeah. Let nothing go.
You are survivors, yes, and you are very good with directions. The next sign is Sagittarius. First of all, very interesting. Presented by a being which is half human, down to torso, and half a horse,
I
right?
thought that was like a centaur or something like
Right,
that.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's another
the thing
name
from
or
Narnia
no?
is what I call
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
So the Narnia guy. Yeah, I got you.
Super nice people, highly reliable, take life kind of easy, like a nice body to have in your life. And people say they like to travel because
Nice
they like
body.
changes.
Yeah.
But remember, it's a combination of human and also animals. So they are close to nature, right? Nice people.
They'll disappear on you
Right.
overnight. Like if you
Right.
ever want to
Yes.
get ghosted
Yes.
through text,
Right.
you mess with a Sagittarius one
Yes.
I
time.
don't know any.
They're
Capricorn.
growing too fast.
Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. Saturn is all about order. Like, like in the army, everything has to be organized. They are career-oriented people that really can get things done, and if need to, can walk over other people very easily. If you take a Capricorn, put them on a small stool in the corner, and give them a little laptop, no water, no food, no access to the bathroom, 12 hours later you come in and they're still working. So career-oriented people could be a little bit dry. Like it's all about order. Like, you cross the street only on the green light, The next sign is Aquarius. So do you remember how Aquarius is represented? Like, how does the sign look like?
It's like a dude holding a water jug or something.
Yeah.
Am I
don't
right?
know.
Was that
Yeah.
I'm an expert.
Right.
I'm letting you talk, bro.
Right.
I just want to take
So
that.
So let me ask you, since he's holding a jar, like, is it like what element does
Water.
it represent? You say water. You say
I mean, I feel like it gotta be water because
okay.
he OD thirsty,
So
right?
actually,
That's why he's drinking.
he's pouring water out. The element is air. The essence of people who are Aquarians are the good of the planet, of the race of people, doing stuff for the good of other people, for the community, and they are unattached and independent, right?
Wait, so you're trying to say the Aquarius are the good people?
No, they are of course good. And considering that we now live at the age of Aquarius, look around us. The family structure is falling apart. The difference between countries are disappearing. People are traveling. We are interconnected. We have internet, right? Technology, right? Air, thinking, right? Not feeling too much.
So Aquarius leave their families, basically.
That's wild. My dad.
Well, they don't leave their families. They don't leave
He's
their
still
families.
here.
I wonder what Aquarius is
And then the last, but not the least sign, the wisest of them all, is Pisces. Water.
Really?
Yeah,
I
ruled
hate
by
Pisces.
planet
Yeah,
nature.
kind of same.
Why?
Yeah. They're very emotional people.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the
Very.
most emotional.
Yeah, no, like a different.
The most emotional.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and the
I thought I was
craziest.
emotional.
Could be crazy. Yeah,
Yeah,
easily.
definitely.
Drugs also, easy.
We just left the age of Pisces, though.
We were in age, so the
what? I
ages
didn't
go
even know there-
backwards. No, the ages go backwards. So in 2000, about the age of Pisces finished, and Pisces, think about it, love, right? Art, travel by water, great discoveries, right? Amazing music. As far
So
as I'm
the music
concerned,
is done.
Yeah.
The music is over now.
No, do you agree
Like
with me?
Spotify.
That's how I feel.
In this whole age, I mean, as a person making music right now, maybe, probably, I don't know.
So what
but
kind of music
I
do
feel
you
like I make pop
what,
music.
what
I
kind
don't
of music do you like?
All kinds of music. I listen to a lot of rap, clearly, because that's what I make. But
Yeah.
see, look how dissatisfied he is with the
man.
answer.
Right.
Off rip. What
So
poppin' tunes?
probably before we end,
Mm-hmm.
I should give people some meat and potatoes about astrology that can use right now.
Wait, I didn't ask about the Chinese zodiac.
So there is also Chinese astrology and
Yeah.
Indian astrology. They are all different from
Indian
each other. Oh
astrology?
yes, they are all different. The ancient astrology is Indian and Chinese.
Yeah.
They are very different. Their charts look very different. They look at things completely differently. But people compare it, and actually, ridiculously enough, if you put three astrologists in different rooms and give them the same person, the interpretation is probably going to be very similar.
Yeah,
It's actually
that's
That's
so cool.
crazy.
Yeah.
Because I feel like you talk about astrology, and it sounds like you're talking about like the Hunger Games or something. You're like, oh, section 10,
true.
house 7. These
Yeah.
people are like this. It's like,
Right.
oh, what neighborhood that's
It
from?
really
Where
does.
Jennifer Lawrence about to pull up, for the Jupiter people, like put a hand up. So I'm very, very interested that like they're all like related
Yeah.
between
Right.
cultures, like,
Right.
even though they're so
Same.
complicated.
So what else should we talk about before we stop? Because we have to stop soon. You can't listen to us all the time.
This is true.
Well, you had meat and potatoes, and I'm hungry, and now there's no meat and
So
potatoes.
two things that it has to be very, very individualized. And when people do charts, they need to know your time of birth plus minus 2 minutes, preferably 1 minute, and it's done. So if you tell them that on my birth certificate it says 1705, it might not be precise, because is it the time when you cried or is it the time when your head came out? It's a constant argument. So
What do you feel? Is
So-
it first cry? Is
so
that
they
when you
have,
exist?
So they have a process which is called rectification. So you can imagine that the astrological chart is kind of like a dial. So a sophisticated astrologer, and my friend from Moscow, he published actually 2 books on rectification. What they do, they interview you. They take anamnesis for you, and there are certain things that happened. You met your first love, the first significant loss in your life, got married, things about your parents, things about your, people close to you. And then they feed them inside of the chart, because there are ways to do it, and then turn the dial to match it. And that's how they find your exact time of birth. So if you just, for fun, doing your chart, and all of a sudden, like, you do it on one of the websites, and you say it's absolutely not me, it means that you don't know your exact time of birth.
Yeah.
So I know mine because my friend did it for me, and of course I know stuff for my children. But I can tell you, my older daughter said that she doesn't want to know astrology, and I asked why, and she said because life is uninteresting. Like, why would I want to know? So
Yeah,
either it's
I
true, and then
agree.
why would I want to know what's going to happen to me?
Yeah, exactly.
And if it's not true, so then it's garbage, and there is no need to know it. So it really depends. So I ask people not to hate neither people who like astrology or people who don't, because it's kind of equal.
No, I've done my chart before. Actually, it was pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You need astrology, like in the age of Tinder, just meeting people mad casually. Cause
Stop. I'm babysitting for a family, and like the mom was telling me that she met her husband on Match.com like before Tinder was like ever a thing.
Right.
oh, she
Super
did
cool.
old school.
Old
I feel like
school
Match
No, the
is
old school
legit. Like you can
Match.com.
find wifey
No,
on Match.
the old school would be me. No Match.com.
No
just
Match.com,
meet
exactly.
people, yeah.
Oh, meet people in the street.
Yeah.
That's the real old school.
No,
Met
I
people.
never met actually anybody on the street in my life.
Oh, I meet
You
people all the
cap it,
time.
really?
I have so many friends
But
because I
you-
just met them on the street.
Yeah.
Meaning you walk and all of a sudden somebody says hi to you?
Yeah.
How does that happen? I even can't imagine how it happens. And you start talking to them?
Yes.
Just in the streets of New York, nobody just talks to you.
No.
That's
Do you,
crazy.
do you just not talk back to people
No, nobody talks to me.
ever?
Ever.
You have a
That's
mean
interesting.
face. You walk
yeah,
around with a
maybe.
mean face or
Yeah,
something.
maybe it's that.
give
Do you walk
people-
around with a mean face?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's probably why.
On this positive note, I'm going to suggest to our listeners, keep your brains
Wide open.
And if you're trying to meet people, use astrology. Like, look at their charts, offer it. You gotta know
Forget
if
all that. Just go on Tinder.
Yeah. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Brainstorm9000. If you like us, love us, or marginally tolerate us,
And definitely, if you hate us,
then go on social media and give us a review on Stitcher, iTunes, or YouTube, or wherever you listen to us.
and remember, keep your brains open.